Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. I have my crystal ball off to the side, so I will be scrying throughout this message. If you're new to my channel, my readings are a little different, and if you're returning, welcome back. You know how we do if it doesn't resonate with you. If you're forcing the story to fit, arguing with it in any way, just leave it behind for the people who it's meant for. So let's go ahead and let's begin. Taking a step aside. And allowing spirit to pass through me. Opening up to receive information. Okay. I don't even know what that is. I guess I'll use this card to explain it, the back of this card. What I'm feeling right now is almost like this, how we have these clouds. There's almost like this thin wisp of something that's floating above. Floating above. I see you. I see you. But then I'm seeing it like I see you, the letters. Oh, someone right now, there's someone in spirit that is kind of watching over you. I feel my sacral chakra lighting up as I do that. So this would be a passed on loved one, passed on family member. It would specifically be a family member. And there's something about intensive care, and I see you. It's almost like we're going through some sort of phase right now where there's some major things that are happening, whoever this message is for. I don't know if these are major changes inside of your life physically, or if they're major changes inside of your life emotionally, mentally, spiritually. But there's some sort of rapid change that's taking place, and there is a spirit that's present that's trying to say, I see you. Again, it's very specifically a passed on family member. Let's see. This is somebody who would have passed on some time ago. I do want to say that just because of the wispiness and the subtlety with which that energy is trying to make itself known. This is somebody who has passed on more than just a few years ago. This is probably, you're looking at anywhere beyond like 3 years, 4 years. Because they can't seem to come quite down to earth. It's like you may have dreams of this person. You may even very occasionally catch like a reminiscent feeling. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, oh yeah, for a moment I thought that they were in the living room the way that I used to feel when they were around, or something like that. But they're not able to actually come in and make themselves known in tangible reality because of the length of time that has passed. They've passed further into the substrate of consciousness. This is a sign for somebody. This particular spirit has at some point come through and allowed and given someone the information that they needed to cleanse, or alluded to it, right? That they needed to cleanse, or that there are other less savory types preventing their access to you. Okay. Whoever's message this is, whatever you've been doing in your life, it's been a very slow, long process. But now things are rapidly firing. Things are moving and picking up speed. The reason why I'm saying that is Geo the slow to Taitlin the self. Taitlin the self is like when our thoughts and our ideas are bouncing around. And this is one of the things that this particular, I'm going to call it an ancestor. It might be a brother or sister. I am going to call it an ancestor, however. This is one of the things that they've been watching, because you've basically done something that they weren't able to do in their life, and that's something about clearing up the baggage. When we have the Laume, this is about her tattered wings being part of her past. There's something here where our ideas are blossoming, our mind is blossoming, our perception is blossoming open, and this is what the spirit is coming through to say, I see you. It's almost like someone's ancestor is coming through as like a friendly reminder that, hey, I'm still here. Maybe you've been thinking about them a lot, maybe you never stopped thinking about them, maybe there was a recent conversation about them. And then we have Taum the poet. and She of the Kruak. Bottom is the Oak Man. Okay, the message is coming through from this particular spirit is that they don't want you to get caught up in the spaces where you start to feel sad, right? And obviously you want to feel your emotions, you want to process them, but they want you, whoever this message is for, to kind of like reconnect. When we have She of the Kruak, this is really about those, like, for me, it's a coming together. It's like the motherly energy of coming together that we experience when we're around other people. There's something about you've learned everything that you can inside of this silence where you're by yourself, where you're quiet, and it's time to reconnect. So this may be reconnecting with people in general. It may be reconnecting with friends. It may be reconnecting with family. But the energy that's coming through is that it's time to reconnect. This came through in yesterday's reading, which is actually scheduled for next week. So here we have Soul Star activation, fulfilling contracts, remembering who you are. One of the reasons why this particular being would like someone to reconnect is because they want you to remember who you are. You may be someone who has had a feeling like you haven't necessarily been living your life, or you haven't been living the life that you know that you should be. And this is one of the reasons why this ancestor is coming through for this reading. You have a lot of rapid changes that are taking place, and rather than sinking back into a comfort zone, it's almost as though embrace these changes, allow these changes to help you to reconnect and remember who you are. Okay. There's something about a little dog. Also, I just have to say that for someone. There's like this little dark dog that I keep seeing. Okay. Yeah. In this reconnection, there's this movement towards adventure, right? Allowing your spirit to be inspired, allowing your spirit to be recharged, which doesn't happen when we're sitting at home and we're in the quiet and we're not doing anything with anybody or even for ourselves, right? For some of you, the reconnecting might be reconnecting to nature. It doesn't necessarily have to be about people, but I'm going to say that for most of you, it actually is. And, you know, allow yourself to take the inspiration and understand which way that should land for you. Here with movement towards adventure, it's the adventure that is going to inspire you. We have joyful muse with inspiration. Someone here, whoever this message is for, you actually have a very creative core. You're a very creative person, but you are running out of some sort of inspiration. You may be doing something over and over and over, or you may know that you are meant to be doing something more with what you're already doing, but that inspiration hasn't hit you. What this ancestor is saying is because of the rapid changes that are happening inside of your life, this is an important time, but with that Merkaba showing up, this is an important time to embrace that aperture of change, because through the aperture of change, you can allow yourself to experience adventure, which is oftentimes the unknown, right? That's why it's an adventure, because you don't know what's going to happen, and allowing that inspiration to hit you in a new way. As human beings, we really like our comfort zones. And the problem with that is that that gets us stuck in our ruts. And then there's this craving for something different, but then we never actually take hold of that something different because that something different is the unknown. That's why it's something that we don't do, because it's something that's outside of our experience. And then we never embrace the adventure. Someone here, you're being guided by this ancestor or this spirit. They must have been somebody who either didn't embrace the adventure and really wished they would have, or they were someone who did embrace the adventure, maybe to an extreme. And it's almost like, you know, do the thing that I couldn't do, or do what I did, right? Allow yourself to do what I did, but do it better. Do it the right way, right? I almost feel like this ancestor's adventure might have gotten them into some trouble here. And maybe it's not funny, I don't know, but they're giving me kind of a funny feeling about it. Here with this movement towards adventure, bringing the inspiration, this is going to inspire your work. It's going to inspire your creativity. It might inspire your path, right? So if you don't necessarily resonate as a person who's filled with creativity, you might become one. Or you might find other ways of expressing creativity. Here with ancestral wisdom, this is just a confirmation for me that this is in fact an ancestor that's coming through. I am feeling feminine energy. I am going to say that just because of the person that's on this. And it was a very feminine energy that I was feeling as that wisp in the first card out that kind of made me think of that, as well as this Taitlin, the Sylph card. So, which is also a very feminine card. Let's see. It doesn't have to be, however, but that's for the majority of you, that's what's coming through. Okay. Where am I going? Where am I going? We're going over here. Oh, we're getting out the Crow Oracle. They mean business. Okay. There may have been something in the past, particularly that happened with this ancestor or, whoever this is, a family member. We may have viewed them as being displaced. And so we may have taken up, I don't know, okay, this is not going to be for everybody. We may have viewed them as being displaced, and so we may have taken on that energy ourselves after they passed, basically displacing ourselves. Meaning, I almost feel that someone here, you've estranged yourself from a lot of people. And, there's probably reasons for that, right? I see a trash can here, so there may have been a lot of issues. And let's see, what are you saying here? Okay. This situation, they're wanting somebody to know that this situation in the past that had a lot of baggage with that trash can, this is something that really colored our perspectives. But they want you to understand that your perspective may be a little skewed here. That crow's upside down. It's not viewing the world correctly. And they're telling you that in this space, with all the change, you may even have the opportunity to really clear out some of that baggage for yourself. But in order to do that, you're going to have to look in spaces that maybe you didn't want to look in, right? You're going to have to look into aspects of self, certain behaviors, certain perspectives that you don't actually want to look in. You may be running from this for someone. You may be saying, making excuses to not do this. Like, I just don't have time. I just don't have the energy, whatever the case is. This particular family member is urging you to do it. I almost have this feeling like, there's not a lot of time. And so you need to do this, whether that means that there's something coming in the future that you need to be prepared for, or if that means that, you may be more advanced in your years. But this is something that they would really like you to do. I'm hearing unload your baggage, unload your baggage. In old societies, that was actually part of the process of preparing for death. To ensure that, in their final moments, people didn't have these sorts of hellish fever dreams as they were passing away, and just to prepare them for that idea of the afterlife, so that they're in cultures that didn't necessarily believe in punishment as an afterlife. It was more so about unloading the burden so that there were less lessons after the afterlife. So this may be what this spirit is alluding to. I'm not sure. Here we have, I think it is, because soar's next. It's basically to lighten your load so that you can fly. Again, going with all these changes, I do think that somebody here, you have a lot of opportunity that's being presented to you, but you may not be able to see it because of these perspectives. And so we may be bogging ourselves down. That might be why Talon the Poet is coming up, because Talon the Poet, even though it's a creative card, and he's very good with his words, he can get into some like morose and saturnine types of thinking, right? Because this is where his creativity comes from. So maybe you're someone who used depression to fuel your creativity, or you used the tragedies in your life to fuel your creativity. This spirit is basically saying you don't have to live in that energy anymore, that there's something about adventure that's going to provide you a new source of inspiration. Either way, this spirit is coming through basically urging somebody to change their perspective by scavenging through the things that they haven't necessarily looked for in order to allow themselves to soar higher. So there's some sort of opportunity here for someone. Okay, these are it. And okay, we have exposed and we have commitment. Interesting. Exposed and commitment, what does that mean? You gonna tell me? Okay, security. Okay, interesting. So whoever this message is for, there may be a situation inside your life right now that we actually know that we should commit to. One of the reasons why we aren't committing in this particular situation seems to be because we feel insecure about the amount of exposure that it makes us feel. This could be, for example, a situation that is causing you to have to be more vulnerable, particularly with yourself. I'm kind of feeling that what this ancestor is alluding to is that there's spaces within ourselves that we haven't necessarily been the most vulnerable with ourselves about. This can particularly be the case when it comes to that idea of I'm right, you're wrong. Right? It can be very hard to look at the spaces where we're actually wrong. We might think that we're really good at it, and then the more that we mature, we see that we actually didn't take the responsibility that we should have taken, not for the other person, but for ourselves, right? And so whoever this message is for, there's an amount of insecurity and security that's at play within whatever the situation is inside of these changes. This ancestor is coming through to say, please change your perspective, go through your baggage, really look through things, because there's something about this energy of displacement that is being exposed, and it's trying to work itself out right now through vulnerabilities, and it's important to commit to whatever the situation currently is. So I'm not going to label it down or try to transpose it onto any sort of life scenario, because I feel I'm supposed to keep it open for this collective. So whoever this message is for, this is the message. You have a spirit that's with you that's really trying to help you navigate something very vulnerable. And if this reading resonates for you, please hit that like button. Feel free to leave me a comment, and until next time.